Welcome, friends. You're listening to the Swears and Does Hair podcast for bridal hairstylists and makeup artists looking to take their business to new levels. Here we tackle topics such as mindset, finances, balancing business with motherhood, and healthy strategies to keep your body and mind supporting your business rather than holding it back. I'm your host, Sue Minsky, business coach for bridal artists and creator of the Next Level Bridal Business Program. Thanks for joining me. I can't wait to dig into today's topic, so let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Swears and Does Hair podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Minsky, and today I have a very special guest for you. It is Kellsie Bain. She is a bridal makeup artist, but she is a destination makeup artist, and she splits her time between Sydney and Vancouver. So today we're going to be talking about her journey into branching out into becoming a destination makeup artist, how she got started, and then a little bit on her advice if this is a branch of your career that you're interested in growing, what she can kind of tell us about what it really takes, what it really means, how it affects things, etc. So thank you so much for joining me today, Kellsie.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. This is one of my first podcasts, so I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. I love being people's first podcast or one of their first few podcasts. It's a really exciting time. I remember the first time that I guest on somebody else's podcast, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world for me. So it's a lot of fun. So hopefully I can make it fun and low stress for you as well. So let's talk a little bit
Thank
about
you.
your journey. How did you become a destination artist? Was this something that you had always planned on doing and kind of like built up strategically? Or was this more of something that kind of you had an opportunity, you fell into it, and it grew from there?
So, so it was definitely strategic. I love to
Okay.
travel, and to be honest, I was working in Sydney, just doing like the bridal slog, 4 or 5 weddings a week for a few years, and it just got very boring to me. So I knew that I wanted to kind of be on the road, and I wanted to travel and kind of combine my two loves, makeup and travel, together. So I
Uh-huh.
I started planning for this years ago. People always say to me, "Oh, how do you book destination weddings?" And it definitely wasn't something that happened overnight. It took a lot of work, and I've planned for it for, I'd say, the last 5 years, to be honest. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, it kind of started back there. I had this goal in mind, and it was to book an international wedding, and I booked my first one last year.
Awesome. So you kind of built this up for yourself over the last 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did that first opportunity kind of come about? What do you think in that, strategy worked best for you and really helped to kickstart this?
I think it all comes down to networking, to be honest. I did a trip a couple of years ago to Mexico, and I met a lot of girls who were kind of the same age as me at the time, around 26, 27. So I knew in the back of my mind that a lot of those women would be eventually getting engaged and getting married. So I kept in touch with all of them. And there was one girl in
Uh-huh.
particular that would always message me on Instagram whenever I posted a photo and just say, "Oh my gosh, I love your work. I wish you could come to Mexico for my wedding." And then I wrote back to her one day and I said, "Well, I can. Like, let's figure this out. Let's make it work." So,
Uh-huh.
I think just by just keeping those kind of connections alive over the years and just really like nourishing those friendships, they have turned into business opportunities for me.
Awesome. So, if people are looking to start offering destination services, what do you think is the first step that they should do other than like the networking thing? Like, as far as like the back end, the business and the planning? Because you said you took that, and you did that for a couple of years first. So, what do they need to kind of consider when it comes to doing that?
I think the first thing, which is so simple, but a lot of people overlook it, is put in your Instagram bio that you're available for travel. There's so many makeup artists that message me and say, "Oh, how do I book a destination wedding?" And I'll go and look at their Instagram, and their bio doesn't even tell you where they're based, let alone that they're available for travel. So that's a really
Mm-hmm.
small thing. If you just add available for destination weddings into your bio, start hashtagging destination makeup artist or international makeup artist.
Okay.
Just, start following like other destination vendors on Instagram and engaging with them, make connections online. I think those little things really help.
I think that's a really great piece of advice, especially with, the hashtags for, destination makeup artists and destination wedding vendors. Because sometimes we get a little too niche down and too focused on our local kind of hashtags and things like that. And we forget that we can use Instagram's algorithm to our benefit to help us get seen in other areas where we want more exposure. So that's a great, great tip. Now, when it
Yeah.
comes to like pricing and things like that, because this is something that I see so many people struggle with or ask questions about. It's a huge thing that pops up in a lot of Facebook groups, actually, is people are saying, hey, I have a bride who's interested in having me come out for her wedding. I have no idea how to price this. What do I charge for travel, things like that. So, do you have a process that you've put together for coordinating all of those details?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely evolved over the last year as I get more destination inquiries. But
Uh-huh.
I think, like, for the first one, just almost treat it as like a content trip. Like, obviously, I charged my Mexico bride, she paid a travel fee. Did it cover all of my travel? No. But at the end of the day, I knew that the content I got out of that wedding would lead me to other destination inquiries. And not only that, the vendors that you meet on the job, they start recommending you, and it's a networking experience in itself. So I think for that
Mhm.
first job, if you are interested in doing destination work, think of a price that works for you, an amount that you're happy with, and go from there. But ultimately, as you get into it more, if people are having destination weddings, they're generally prepared to pay and they've got the money to pay for it. So I've started, stretching my price a bit more, and like I've really been playing around with pricing this
Uh-huh.
last year. But what I'm realizing in this destination world is that, yeah, generally the brides that are getting married in these destinations, they have money to spend. And if they know they have to fly you in, they're prepared to pay that money. So don't undercut yourself too much.
Exactly. I think anybody who is in the market for a destination makeup artist already understands that there's going to be a higher cost to it than just going with someone local. They're not
Absolutely.
just paying for their makeup because they can find someone local to do that. They're paying for the experience of having their person that they want come to them, and which is definitely a luxury service. So, yeah, and they know how much they're going to have to pay for flights. They're looking at flights already. They know
Yeah.
what these kinds of things cost. They know what it costs for the hotel and things like that. So, yeah, it's a good thing to kind of keep in mind. Don't shop with, your purse versus the client. Um,
Absolutely. And once you start doing these destination weddings, you really realize how expensive it is to travel. Like every little thing adds up. So it's really important to not undercut yourself too much. But I recommend like that first one or two to just kind of do what you can to work with the bride, because it does lead to more work, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a good blog article that I have on my blog as well. I'll put a link in the description for this, but I break down a lot of other little things because, like you said, it does kind of all add up. All the little things that you have to pay for. It's not just your flight and it's not just the hotel. You have to pay for transportation to and from the airport. You have to pay for yourself for food for 3 meals a day. You have to consider, well, how much money am I losing out by having to travel 2 days plus work a day versus staying at home? Because they're not just paying for you to have a vacation, you're working pretty
Yeah.
much the whole time unless you're adding on extra leisure time to your travel.
Which
So
we
I think
which we do.
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely. Like if you have an
Yeah.
opportunity, your flight is covered, like
Yeah.
add on an extra
You've got to
day or
make the most
so
of it.
and give yourself a little bit of um an opportunity to explore this awesome destination, because what's the benefit of becoming a destination makeup artist if you don't actually get to experience these beautiful places? If you love the podcast, you'll love the Masterclass Magic series. Each month, I break down a new topic to help you grow your bridal business and provide you with the practical step by step actions to get you results. It's free for a full year with Next Level Bridal Business, but you can join the membership individually for just $27 a month right now. You can cancel at any time. For a full list of the current classes included, as well as upcoming topics for the rest of 2023, click the link in the description and get started today. Or you can check out the Masterclass Magic highlight on my Instagram at Beauty Biz Collective for more in depth info on each of the topics covered. So, when it comes to packing your kit for flights, what are your suggestions for that? What should people keep in mind?
I think first of all to just condense your kit. At the end of the day, I feel like as makeup artists, we all reach for the same products anyway, so there's really no need to just take everything with us, especially for bridal. So I've really condensed my kit down to just the products that I love and that I reach for most.
Uh
I
huh.
separate all of my cream products and my powders. I take all of my powders and my brushes as carry on with me, and then all the
Okay.
creams go into my suitcase. And that's
Oh,
how I
okay.
separate them. And then when I'm on the job, obviously, I kind of put them together.
Put them all back together.
But just
Yeah.
for the flight, I separate them. I get worried about my powders getting
Oh, yeah.
smashed and whatnot. So I like to keep them with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when traveling with your kit, the powders are so delicate. I mean, even just jostling on regular travel, moving around and stuff like that. There's definitely times where I've opened up my kit and been like, the fuck happened here? Like, what happened to this eyeshadow? It was in here so nice
Yeah.
before.
And
So, yeah.
especially the brushes as well. I found my brushes were getting squashed. So I keep them in
Mm,
cylinders and I keep them in my backpack just so I'm not
yeah,
ruining any of those.
very smart. Very smart. So, what's your favorite destination that you've gone and that you've done?
Yeah, I've done quite a few over the last year. I feel like I've got a wedding in Lake Como booked this year, and I already feel like that's going to be like the best.
Uh
Um,
huh.
but I did a wedding in Mexico last year in Ensenada, which is like 2 hours south of the Tijuana border. It's kind of like a
Okay.
beautiful up and coming wine region. They're saying it's like the new
Oh,
Napa Valley. So it was amazing. My bride actually ended up inviting me to her wedding. So I got the whole experience.
uh-huh.
Um, and yeah, just working with all of the Mexican vendors and just seeing the difference between like an Australian wedding and a Mexican wedding. It was just incredible to be a part of, and I loved it so much.
Now, was she local or was she from out of the area and was having a destination wedding and flew you in for that?
She was from Mexico City, so it was a
Okay.
destination wedding for her and her family as well, and she flew me in for it. So yeah,
Gotcha.
it was just a really amazing experience for my first destination wedding.
Yeah. How long did you end up staying there?
In Mexico,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I stayed in Mexico for about 4 nights,
Okay.
and then we continued our trip and went to San Diego and did a little bit of a trip afterwards. But yeah, we stayed there. It's kind of a small area, so
Uh-huh.
there's not much to do there besides drink wine. So yeah, we stayed for a few days and then we
I
moved
mean,
on.
I could do that for a couple of days.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. So earlier you had talked about that first trip and using it kind of like a content creation type opportunity. What types of content do you think are really important to capture to help promote your destination weddings?
I think video content is where it's at. Like, just forget about photos. Like, video content is what people want to see. It's what gets us the
Hmm.
most engagement on TikTok and Instagram. I carry a tripod around with me. People actually always comment on my videos and they're like, who's filming you while you're doing this? But it's just a tripod. So I take a
Hmm.
tripod with me. I literally carry it around everywhere. I think filming, the destination. So filming the venue
Uh-huh.
you're at, filming, parts of you driving, film you at the Airbnb, at the hotel, like capture as much as possible, capture the whole experience. People
Hmm.
love to see that. Storytelling is trending big time on TikTok because people love to just be on that journey with you. So, yeah, video content is where it's at for sure.
Yeah, storytelling I think is just in general a really good way to connect with our audiences because it invites people into our world and it makes it more tangible. You're taking something that's intangible, they're not actually there, but you're making it feel more tangible. They feel like they're somewhat experiencing it alongside you, and then they can kind of see themselves as part of the story. And when
Exactly.
people can see themselves in your story, they're more likely to become a part of your story because they've already subconsciously placed themselves there. So storytelling content, I think, is just super effective for all those reasons in general, whether it's a local wedding or a destination wedding, but
Absolutely.
it's
It
really
doesn't
powerful.
matter. It's just, yeah. I feel like just taking people on that journey with you, and it inspires them as well. Like I know that I learned that of other makeup artists that I was following, and that's why I started doing it in my business. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I think it's, yeah, incredible to be able to do that on TikTok and Instagram now.
Yeah. Are you more on Instagram or more on TikTok? Do you have a favorite platform or do you kind of balance it between the two?
Oh yeah, like my favorite platform is TikTok,
Yeah.
100%. I feel like I can be myself on TikTok. I feel like it's more
Okay.
raw, it's more authentic. Instagram's a bit more polished. It's becoming
Uh-huh.
more like TikTok now. So I use TikTok primarily, and then I'd say I think I use TikTok more so to take people on the journey with me, and I share more about myself and my life as a makeup artist on TikTok. Whereas my Instagram is more so my portfolio. So that's where I share more of
Gotcha.
my clients. I will do snippets of like my journey and my experience as a makeup artist as well on there. But I'd say, yeah,
Mhm.
TikTok is what's helping me book these destination weddings all over the world. And it's what's, getting me these business opportunities. So it's the number one for me.
Awesome. That's really interesting to know. I don't use TikTok. It's just one of those things where I'm like, there's just one more platform that I don't have.
Mhm.
Because it's one more thing for me to create content for. And I don't have the lifestyle that supports creating that much content. But it's really fascinating to see the differences between TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah, I think there's just a big white space on TikTok. There's a lot of people like yourself who still aren't on there. So it
Hmm.
means that there's a lot of room to grow because there's a lot of people out there who say the same thing as you. I just can't be bothered. It's another thing I need to learn. But in
Hmm.
a sense, I feel like those people are kind of missing out a bit because there is that white space. And there's, when I got on TikTok, I only had, I think, 4,000 Instagram followers, hadn't booked a
Uh-huh.
destination wedding. And just in the last year, I've got 70,000 TikTok followers, 35,000 Instagram followers. It's all from TikTok. So
That's
um,
amazing.
get on TikTok. Can't recommend it
Yeah.
enough. You can just
Yeah.
repurpose your content. You can use the same content on TikTok that you use on Instagram. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get that it's a whole job in itself. So I get that it's a
Yeah.
lot for some people.
Yeah. Being, full time doing all of my business coaching and things like that, and having two kids, and just still managing, my hair and makeup bookings and my spray tan business. And it's just like, okay, I have just enough time to really kind of do what I can right now, at least with the podcasting. I'm branching out into YouTube because I can create video at the exact same time that I am recording my podcast. So I'm like, okay, easy way to repurpose. It's already creating the same type of thing at the same time. So you're right on pace there when it comes to like repurposing. And if you don't have time for TikTok, reuse what you do on Instagram. So
Yeah, good for you.
maybe I'll get there someday.
Yeah, in your own time.
Yeah. So, when it comes to like traveling for the weddings and putting out like a schedule, you had mentioned that you spent about 4 days there. Do you usually spend about that much time for each destination wedding? Like, how far before the wedding day do you usually fly or drive into the location?
So what I'm finding with these destination brides is that a lot of them want their makeup done for their arrival party and their recovery
Hmm.
party as well. So a lot of them have an event the day before the wedding, which is when their guests arrive, and they have like like
Uh
a
huh.
cocktail party, like a welcome party.
Gotcha.
Then they have the wedding day, and then generally the day after the wedding, they do something as well, like a recovery party. So what I'm finding is that most brides want their makeup done, those 3 days.
Hmm.
Um, Also, a lot of the brides I haven't been able to meet before the wedding. So sometimes I'll do their trial the day before or 2 days
Hmm.
before the wedding. So I'd say in general, like I'm staying at the locations for like 3 to 4 nights.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, especially for the trial, it's important because yeah, a lot of these brides, I'm coming from Sydney or Vancouver, they're coming from New York, like we haven't been able to meet before, so
Uh-huh.
it's nice to have that time to do a trial and just meet and get familiar with each other before the wedding.
Yeah. Have you done a destination where you had to like adjust to the time zone difference too?
I suffer really badly from jet lag.
Uh-huh.
So I always make sure that, yeah, I kind of get in like 2 days before the wedding, just so I'm feeling fresh
Mhm.
and like myself on the wedding day.
Yeah. Now, what do you do? Because there's been a lot of issues with the flight industry and everything the last couple of years when it comes to like delays and things like that. Do you have anything in your process for scheduling those type of things to kind of help to take that into account?
I think that's another reason why I fly in a few days before, just because,
Uh huh.
I mean, I'm the type of person that's early to everything. I can't stand being late to anything. So I think
Same.
that's just my nature to be super organized. And it's just so me to arrive like 2 days before the actual event. But I do it for that reason because I don't want to be held up. Fingers crossed, nothing has ever happened to this date.
Uh huh.
But I've got a lot of travel planned this year. So let's see. I might have a challenging situation ahead of me. Who knows?
Well, hopefully not. It sounds like you're very organized and you plan things out really well.
I do.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. But that'd be my biggest fear with, doing destination stuff and being like, okay,
Yeah, I think
now
it's only a
how do
risk
I get
if you're booking jobs back to back. I think that would be
uh-huh.
risky, but I guess a lot of the weddings that I do, they're quite spaced out. So I'm not
Yeah.
kind of rushing to and from
Yeah.
destinations.
How often do you say that you have them scheduled now? Is it like once a month kind of thing or every couple of
Um,
weeks?
yeah, I would say this year I've got one big wedding booked per month.
Awesome.
And they're quite spread out. I've got some in North America, some in Europe,
Okay.
Australia.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a big
Nice.
year.
Yeah, where in Europe are you going this year?
So my first wedding is in Scotland and she's actually an Australian bride. And the funny story about
Okay.
that is I met her in a cafe in Sydney. She used to make my coffee for me every morning.
Oh,
And
really?
this is the reason I tell this story is because you just never know who can become a potential client. And so
Mhm.
I just used to talk to her and I tell everyone that I'm a makeup artist, no matter who I meet, because you just don't
Mhm.
know what that can lead to. So I just remember telling her that I was a makeup artist, and when she got engaged, she sent me an inquiry for her wedding in Scotland. So
Uh-huh.
I've got that, and then I've got a wedding in Greece. And
Ooh.
then the big one is a wedding in Lake Como, which is late August. And I'm really excited about that. She's also a past client. This bride was a bridesmaid in a wedding that I did a few years
Okay.
ago. So kept in touch with her and ended up getting booked for her wedding in Lake Como. So you just never know where you'll meet clients.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really awesome. I'm so jealous. I get to go to Scotland this summer in like 2
Amazing.
months. I'm excited. We're going
Yeah,
for
I've
like
never been to
10
Scotland and
days.
it's never been on my radar, but now that the wedding's
Uh-huh.
booked there, I'm so excited. It looks so beautiful. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, where in Scotland is it? Do you
It's just
remember?
outside of Edinburgh.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband is like half Scottish. And so for years, we've been planning a trip to Scotland. We were supposed to originally go in summer of 2020,
Mhm.
but
That didn't
obviously
happen.
that didn't happen. And so then in like 2021, we're like, oh, that's fine. We'll just have an extra year to save up. And then 2021 came around and we were both kind of like, we cannot get quarantined in another country
No.
for, 3 weeks or whatever they were quarantining people with. And I was just like, no, that we just don't have the time. So then we were talking about doing it last summer and that just never happened. So I was like, that's it. Damn it. 2023, we're going to go. So
Make it happen.
yeah, we're finally getting to do it, and one of the big places that we're gonna be going is Edinburgh, so I'm
Nice. Well, I'm
excited.
headed there in like 3 weeks, so I'll have to send you some of my recommendations once I'm done.
Absolutely. I follow, like, a couple of different Instagram accounts now that are, like, for tourists coming to Scotland, like, the best coffee shops and the best ice cream places and the best restaurant, it's all food stuff. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Okay, yeah. So where am I going to eat on day 1, and where am I gonna eat on day 2?" And I just have a whole bunch of these guys saved now, so you'll have to send me some of your recommendations too.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Was there anything crazy that happened, like, at the wedding, or was it just the whole traveling over the border kinda situation?
It was more just a different experience for me because a lot of them didn't speak English. Like my bride spoke really good English, but obviously on the day I didn't really want to rely on her to be a translator for me because it's her
Yeah.
wedding day and she needs to like have her moment and relax and be calm. So a lot of it was just, them showing me their inspiration on their phone and me just going for it. So normally like
Yeah.
I communicate with my clients a lot, but in that case I really couldn't. So it
Okay.
allowed me to be really focused and like get the job done really efficiently because I wasn't talking as much. But that was the biggest challenge, I guess, just the
Yeah.
language barrier. Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had a wedding like that before when I first started out. I think they were Vietnamese.
Hmm.
I don't remember. I was either Vietnamese or Korean, and the mom's she spoke English. Like I
Hmm.
know she spoke English and she could clearly understand what I was saying because I heard her speak English and I knew she did. And the bride even admitted, she was like, "Mom, you speak English. Stop it. I don't want to have to keep translating." But every time I'd ask the mom a question, she would turn to her daughter and she would say it in whatever language it was. And then she'd wait for the bride to like translate it back to me. And I have to be like, okay, this is making things take like 2 to 3 times as much. Like,
Yeah.
just please just answer me. Like, if you don't know how to respond, like, that's fine, but don't do it for every single question when I know you damn well understand, like,
Yeah.
what I'm
That's
saying to you.
frustrating. I did have
Yeah.
one of the bridesmaids, she had a couple of kids running around and she wanted a red lip. So I'd like half done her red lip and one of the kids started screaming and crying. So she said, "Oh, thank you. Like I'm going to go." And I was like, "Oh," and tried to say to her, "I haven't finished your lip. Can you make sure you come back so I can finish it?" And she never came back to get her lips finished. And I just remember being so mortified about that because I was like, if anyone sees her and sees that her red lip looks absolutely awful because it's like half done. I'm so embarrassed by that. Um, but whatever, she didn't care. It didn't matter in the end. But I remember just being, yeah, that was hard
Yeah.
that I couldn't say to her, "Oh, I'm not finished. Can you come back?"
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had people who speak English and I've said that to them and they
And
still haven't
they
come
still
back,
won't come back.
They're like, "Hold on, let me run back to my room." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay, I'm not leaving for another like hour or two or whatever." And then like always, it's like as I'm getting in the elevator, they're like coming back to the room, and I'm like, Bye, my shit's packed
too
up.
late.
I am leaving. Like, I hope you got some lipstick in your room somewhere because I always like to leave lips for the very last thing. That way, in case people are like eating and drinking and stuff like that, I don't have to touch it up 50 times because
Same.
without fail. Every time I tried to do lips early, they come back like an hour later and they're like, "I messed this up." And I'm like, "That's fine. I'll fix it at the end." And then they come back like 20 minutes later and they're like, "Is it all wearing off? I've been
Yeah,
eating." And I'm like, "I know. I fucking told you. I'll
yeah,
do it at the end. Like, please stop bothering me."
yes.
But thank you so
Mhm.
much for joining me today and for sharing some of your details on your journey and how you got started. Any final thoughts that you have for us before we go today?
Um, No, I just think, yeah, for makeup artists, like my biggest piece of advice is just put yourself out there, show your face. People want
Mhm.
to see the face behind the business. So, put yourself out there, reach out to other creatives, reach out to other vendors, and
Mhm.
just go for it. Don't hold back.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for your patience. Hopefully, I'm able to edit this all together and it looks not crazy. So, damn internet. So, I think I'm just cursed when it comes to technology because I swear I'm always like, "I've got it. I'm fine." And then I'm like, "Nope. Nope, it's just not working today." And I feel like the kind of kooky old lady because I'm like, I just turned 40. I'm like, I'm not like 90. Like, I shouldn't have this kind of problems with technology. I've been using computers since I was like 6 years old. Why is this so hard? But I
I
think I'm
know, but
just
everything's
cursed.
changed and it's all part of it. So you're doing a really good
Yeah.
job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening. I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I hope you feel empowered, knowledgeable, and capable of handling anything that your business throws your way. Don't forget to subscribe to get access to new episodes as they are released here on YouTube, or tune in on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for the latest conversations. Love today's episode? Let me know. Leave me a comment and tell me what your biggest takeaway was from the conversation. Have a request for a future topic or someone you'd like to hear me interview? Find me on Instagram at Beauty Biz Collective and drop me a DM. And if you're hungry for more actionable content to help you grow your bridal business, click the link in the description below this video to sign up for my free on-demand training to learn how to book better quality brides faster, easier, and with less stress. See you next time.